Hi everyone, let's quickly catch up with the charts today. Bitcoin's dominance bounced off. If you have seen the recent charts by the chartist, it reached a level of support and then it bounced off. And look what is happening today. Today is expected to be a red day for Ethereum, and Ethereum is following Bitcoin again. In my opinion, Ethereum never stopped following Bitcoin, but anyway, for the purpose of technical argument, Ethereum today is following Bitcoin as a result of Bitcoin's dominance bouncing up from the support. So look at the daily time frames for Ethereum. Ethereum today, 19th of July, has a higher probability of closing on a red. This is the day of the Earth Ox. As I explained in previous videos, the Earth Ox is enemy number 1 to Ethereum. It is a friend of Bitcoin. So why is Ethereum not red today? There is only one reason, because it's following Bitcoin. Anyway, it may start following more its own cycle during the day and end up closing on green. At the moment, it's still very early. I'm recording this video at 10 UTC in the morning, so we have a whole day ahead of us to change the direction. In terms of top, I forecasted the top to be on the 17th of July. You can see this fractal here, that it tops on the 17th of July. Here it is. It ended up topping on the 18th of July. I did warn you at the time. I said it may go to the upside a little bit more, because 18th of July is a bullish day for Ethereum. That was recorded in the previous video. So in my opinion, the top is in. But we need to see how low it will dip today and tomorrow before we can be confident that the top is in. Because if Ethereum decides to start following Bitcoin from now on, Bitcoin has a bit more to the upside left. If Ethereum decides to following Bitcoin, here it is, look at the tops of Bitcoin, 21st of July and 23rd of July, the extracted tops of Bitcoin. That means that the Ethereum will be going higher from now to make those tops. Ethereum tops are 22nd of July and 24th of July, a day later after the Bitcoin stops, according to this fractal. So Ethereum is following Bitcoin. That's why it's very difficult to predict. It's always difficult to pin down, because every now and again it follows its own cycle and then it goes back to following Bitcoin. So by the way, this fractal, it should be like this. This is the correct placement of the fractal, but in that way it's more difficult for you to see how these sticks are pointing to the top. So that is why I moved it there. The fractal never determines the price, by the way. It determines the relationship between the candles. And it determines big pivots. So you can see how neatly this fractal is fitting here. Big green, and then the historical performance was some play here at resistance, but this time around we got a bit more to the upside, which is simply showing and that this is way overstretched, and sooner or later we will be punished for this. It's coming down anytime from now, but as we're trying to nail the pivot, that is why I keep producing more videos. Otherwise, I have made my statement already that I expect Ethereum to be coming down soon. You know, in some months it's very easy to predict the exact pivots, and in other months it's quite difficult. So July is very difficult to nail because of all of these new ingresses. That new ingress in Gemini by Uranus, I guess, my guess is that is the reason for all of these inflated kind of pumps. And also, this is not really healthy behavior. This is actually reshaping now the rest of 2025. I had a consultation with a chartist, because I don't like building these opinions alone in isolation. And we both agree that this volatile behavior in July will actually reshape our expectations of 2025 in a negative way. This volatility that came in July, here is your support here, drawn from 2022. This is diagonal support from Ethereum, for Ethereum, drawn all the way from 2022, right? That's 2022. So when Ethereum was struggling to break above the support for most of 2025, look at that. You would expect that once it breaks above the support, it will be doing some range play here. For 1 month, not a lot, because it already has done a lot of range play here in May, right? But after this dip below that support, you would expect a bit more range play here to consolidate a bit more in a healthy way. And then there is lots of time to pump after that. You have the whole of August, September, October, but Ethereum didn't do that. Ethereum decided to go straight for these pumps, break out from here, and suddenly it's pumping so high. This is not looking healthy, and I will be updating the subscribers for August how this will be reshaping the next few months to come, and I've already changed my plans in terms of when I'm gonna be selling. That video will be available only to subscribers, by the way, because it involves super important content about the top of Ethereum of 2025, and a lot of our money is there. I'm heavily invested in Ethereum, so only my subscribers will know when I'm gonna be selling Ethereum. All I can say to you is that this is totally not healthy, these pumps. You would expect these pumps towards the end, not in July. Okay, moving on to, so the conclusion is, just to avoid any ambiguity, the conclusion is that we're expecting 19th and 20th to be closing lower for Ethereum. If it doesn't do that, means it's not following its own cycle, means it's following Bitcoin cycle. And Bitcoin, what is the situation with Bitcoin today? So I forecasted on Twitter yesterday that I'm expecting more to the upside today based on the daily time frames forecast for Bitcoin. So where it is here, we have a lot of positive confluences for 19th of July. The main one is the 100% historical probability of Mercury in Leo when it is retrograde on day number 1 after the event. It has closed on a green 100% of the time. That is quite strong probability. On top of that, Mercury retrograde across all cycles, across all zodiac signs, regardless whether it is in Leo or where it has been. Again, it gives a 62% probability of closing on green today. So these are very strong metrics because both of them are on the same page. And on top of that, we have eclipse cycles today, projecting green closures. The Chinese is not very strong, only 53%, but the eclipse cycles are pretty good. 64% is the partial eclipse. Then we have Lunar Day 24. Lunar Day 24 is usually a day associated with tops for Bitcoin. So it is a high day, Lunar Day 24. And then what else is going on here is we have this aspect. Yeah, the moon is good because it has a negative aspect in the middle of the day, but after that it gets good towards the end of the day, which again suggests a green closure of the day. And then we have Chiron, Sun squaring Chiron here. So these are the metrics for sun squaring Chiron. In the previous video I had the results from last year, so I couldn't really say much about it, but last night I sat down and I actually revised all of these. And what we see here is that in recent years this aspect has always been followed by up moves, more moves to the upside. This has been the case since 2022. So that leads to 57% probability of more upside moves. In previous years, it has been a local top, but recently it hasn't been. Recently it has been followed with more moves to the upside. So that is a main reason why I'm expecting more moves to the upside. And then we have another very important aspect taking place on 22nd of July, all the way in the evening at 10 o'clock UTC. And this is the Mars conjunction Ketu, the dreaded aspect by all astrologers that gave us a bear bias for July. All astrologers who know astrology, we had a bear bias for July, and this was one of the aspects that contributed to that. However, when you sit down and do the back testing, it's only 50% probability of closing on a red. That is how it goes with a lot of those assumptions. And then the trend after is 70% green after the 22nd of July. This is stating more to the upside for at least 1 day. For at least 1 day, which makes 23rd of July higher. However, that doesn't mean the 23rd of July will be the top, because it is very possible that we top sooner. Let's come back to the fractals. It is very possible that we top sooner on 21st of July, and then we head down on 22nd of July, and then when we head up, we may make a lower high, as this orange fractal is showing. This orange fractal is showing a dump on the 22nd of July, and then a lower high on the 23rd of July. Whereas the white fractal is showing a high on 21st of July, and then even higher on 23rd of July. Let's come back to the daily time frames here. What do we expect on 23rd of July? Oh, sorry, I'm in the Ethereum. It shouldn't be in the Ethereum. So Ethereum is expected to top on 21st of July right now, if it hasn't topped yet. I believe it has topped yet. But if it's following Bitcoin, it will be topping on 21st of July. Bitcoin Chinese time frames. Okay, so what we have here is the highest probability is on 21st of July top for Bitcoin, because my Chinese time frame cycle is very, very good. Let me just give you an example of the bottoms. The bottoms, 8th of April, 7th of April bottom, and then 6th of June bottom as well. These two were real bottoms. So the next bottom that we expect is, you already saw it, I want to present that later for the August forecasts. So just wanted to give you an example that these Chinese time frame cycles are very precise, right? So we're waiting now for 21st of July top for Bitcoin. According to the chartist, the top is already in for Bitcoin, because on a 4-hourly time frame we see the Bitcoin making a lower low on a 4-hourly. Did I have that chart? I had it in front of me and I must have clicked it by mistake, must have deleted it by mistake. So anyway, it's not my chart, it's somebody else's chart. I don't have the 14th of July as a top for Bitcoin. it's nowhere in my system. So for that reason, I expect more to the upside to challenge this. It didn't manage to do it on the 17th of July because 17th of July was Mercury station. So it still managed to close on a green despite Mercury station. So that's quite a big achievement. That's all we're getting. But now Mercury is no longer stationing. Mercury now is turning retrograde, is gathering again speed. It's a small speed, but it's still better than being stationed. So that is why the 19th and the 20th of July are given by Mercury retrograde as green. Anyway, my point was that we have some more up to the upside from all the backtesting results that I showed you and from some other events that I haven't shown yet. So we're expecting a top on 21st of July and we'll take it from there. If it looks like a top, if the candle looks like a top, great. If it doesn't look like a top, then we expect more to the upside on 23rd of July. I wish I could tell you these pivots way ahead, but not every month is easy like that. And also for practical purposes, it doesn't actually matter. Even if you know one day in advance that the next day will be a top, it's still better than not knowing at all. So practically, the fact that we're doing these tops so close to the actual events is actually not impacting practical trading. So this is it that I wanted to catch up for today, just for the next couple of days. And then I'll be back in touch with you after the weekend. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Bye bye.